Hello guys, in this video I wanna talk about the fundamentals of training and the 3 basic things that you need to master and you need to optimize in order to have the most amount of gains that you can realize in your lifespan basically. So this will change over time with your age, with your training advancements. So the more advanced you get, the more you can do and the more you know how to leverage other variables than these 3 variables that can help you to gain more in these kind of fundamentals. So first, let's start with the most basic fundamentals, in my opinion, that you need to be looking at is volume, training volume. Now, what is training volume means? The amount of sets, in my case, the amount of sets you do per muscle. So how many sets you do per muscle. You should be doing 10 to 20 sets per week. Now, this means that you can do it like 5 full body split where you do 2 sets per every muscle 5 times a week. That's 10 sets. Or you do 4 sets of 4 sets of every muscle 5 times a week. That's 20 sets. Or you do one chest workout where you do 20 sets of chests. Okay, so this is per 1 week. You can break it down into much more pieces, or you can just do it in one session. Now, I'm not gonna go into how frequently you should train. You should be optimizing that as you go along. You know how much time you got. My optimal weekly frequency, so how many times I train a muscle, is 2 to 3. More than 3 is probably too much for me. Less than 2 is not optimal for me. I don't like to get one super heavy session. I like to have 2 super heavy sessions. So yeah, the first fundamental was volume. So obviously with a smaller muscle group like biceps, you're not going to need 20 sets of biceps, especially if you're doing back, because look, if you're doing back, you cannot escape that your biceps will activate as well. Not all of the movement, but most of them will activate your biceps, meaning that that's a biceps load. So for biceps, I usually do 6 sets per week, or maybe less. You don't need much more than 10, because that's just a waste of recovery and waste of volume, in my opinion, because your back training will take will load your biceps as much as like a few sets. So this is applied to most of your muscles. So obviously you do more legs. You can split it up your legs, so 20 sets of quad, 20 hamstrings. It can be too much, but for a beginner lifter it will be quite alright, especially if you're not a hard trainer. Then yeah, probably you can get away with it. So obviously smaller groups requires less volume, and bigger muscles requires more volume to get fatigued and to get as much as possible. Now, how you can gauge that you put in enough volume but not too little. Now, so to gauge what is your maximum volume is to try out always how much you can do sets wise. So for a 4 to 6 week period, try, let's say, 20 sets. And if you can recover between workouts, so let's say you have 3 days between 2 back workouts, and if you're still sore at the second workout, then you are doing too much. And if it's always happen for 6 weeks, then you are doing too much. You have to taper back a little bit of volume. If you can make more adjustments, if you are not sore enough or let's say you are not even sore, then you can get into training. Now, this is not the best representation in terms of soreness to gauge that you are doing enough or not. The maximum is correct. If you are sore in the next workout, then you are doing too much. That's for sure. But the minimum is, so how you can know that you can increase it is by, if you are doing a really heavy first workout, at the second workout your weight not drop, then you can probably do a little bit more, but not too much. If your weight drops at the second workout compared to last week, then you should lower a little bit of volume in the first workout. Okay, so this is volume. Let's talk about another fundamental. So the second fundamental is reps. Now, in terms of reps, there are rep ranges that can benefit much more to strength, to hypertrophy, and to endurance. Now, in my opinion, you should be using all of the rep ranges except the 1 to 5 rep range. So the 1 to 5 rep range, if you are training for hypertrophy. So the 1 to 5 rep range is the basic strength rep range. So if you want to get stronger, want to have better compound lifts, then go ahead, use those and create good plan using those rep kinds. Because if you're using 1 to 5 reps, your nervous system get adjusted to that. Okay? But in my opinion, the best rep ranges are from 6 to 12. I'm not using at the moment 6 to 8 on any of my exercises. I use 8 to 10 on my top 2 sets, so the heaviest sets I do per exercise, and on the top 1 set I use 10 to 12 rep range. Now, in terms of and I use in my back off set, I use 10 to 15. Usually this is the rep range of my back off set. Now, if it goes up to 16 or even 18, that's totally cool. However, in terms of warm-ups, I would recommend you to use 20 or even more reps just to push as much blood into your muscle as possible and to get a pump before you start your exercise. Now, so in terms of rep ranges, the best rep range you can do is, in my opinion, 8 to 12. You can use 6 to 8 rep range as well. For example, on compound lifts, don't use it on isolation exercises, but for bench press, for deadlift, that's totally cool. For an RDL, for squat, for anything like that, that's the best. That's a good rep range. Not the best, that's a good rep range. Now, how you can gauge the rep range is good or not? Progressing or not. If you're not progressing, then change the rep range. Go higher or go lower. If you are progressing, then you are in a good rep range. This is the easiest way to gauge that you are in a good rep range. Now, lastly, I want to talk about intensity, and this is going to be a much more subjective target to hit, because intensity, in my opinion, can be achieved 2 ways. One way is not my favorite, but it's a good way to gauge intensity, to ramp up the intensity, and the other way is what I do. So for first, intensity can be achieved, in my opinion, by using less rest times. I'm not saying that you should rest for 10 seconds and go ahead, just using the minimum amount of recoverable rest time. So, for example, usually 1 minute is more than enough for a lot of people, but I usually take 2 or 3 minutes between sets because I go to failure. And this is the second type, when you are going to fucking hard and you are going to failure and you are going until you can't push more. Now, let's talk about what is failure. Failure is when you are basically could not push more if you had a bullet, if you have a gun at your head. That's basically failure. thing is that I push a lot of my exercises to failure, all of my sets basically to failure. This is why I rest more. However, after 1 minute, I could go and do my set because I'm almost fully rested. But to be honest, I probably would push less or pull less than would with 2 or 3 minutes. Or at least this is my observation for me. So this is why I say you can gauge and ramp up intensity this two way, because if you are doing it fast with low rest times, then your intensity will be higher in terms of cardiovascular systems, as well as you will just load your muscles in a very different way, and you will not maximize the amount of load that you can put on it, but you will have a more constant load. So yeah, I hope it makes sense to you. So this is the two way you can ramp up intensity. In my opinion, the resting more and putting more load on your body will result in better muscle gains. However, if you don't have time, it's totally okay to just speed up your session and go as fast as you can, as well as just go heavy. Okay, especially if you are having low rest times, you can go really heavy and not push to failure. Okay, and you can do probably more volume with this. So guys, this was the video about fundamentals. So let's see the 3 fundamentals. First is volume, 10 to 20 sets, and optimize your sets based upon your soreness and based upon your strength. So if you are weaker in the next workout and sore at the next workout, you are doing too much. If you are not, then you can maybe squeeze in 1 or 2 sets and try it out, but yeah, you will feel it. But if you're sore and weak, then you are done. The second one is rep ranges. My favorite rep range is 8 to 12. However, I recommend you guys to try it out, all of them. On compound lifts, 6 to 8 is a really great rep range, 6 to 10 even. And I think the best workout is a good workout system going to contain all of the rep ranges. So use 6 to 15, even 20 rep range, and gauge upon that. So just try it out, what feels good to you. And lastly, intensity. Train fucking hard. Train fast or train really, really heavy. That's the two way, in my opinion, that you can ramp up intensity. Now, if you train fast, that's not going to result in maximum amount of load. However, that will optimize in terms of speed, and you can get done faster, and you can fatigue your muscle faster, and that's it. So basically, that's it. But if you wanna train and wanna maximize the muscle growth, in my opinion, then rest as much as you need and train as heavy as you can. And as well, if you speed it up your workout, you should train as hard as possible. Okay, because training hard is necessary to get swole as fuck. So I hope you guys, this video was informative and you like this video. And if you do, then please leave a like, leave a comment what you think about this and what you would recommend to a beginner lifter. What would the advice that you gave to beginner lifter? I'm really curious about it. So I see you in the next one. Have a nice day, guys.